I'm delighted to say the former West Ham, Newcastle, Palace manager Alan Pardew is in studio with us after a bit of travel around Europe where he's worked here, there and everywhere, in Greece, in Holland, in Bulgaria. Alan now back in London, back in the UK, and presumably, Alan, if the right opportunity comes along, you'd be up for it.
Yeah, it's a strange thing because, I'm a London boy. So when I go around London, people talk to me on the tube and taxis. Where are you going next? Where are you going next? And of course, as a football manager, I don't know. I have no idea until someone picks the phone up and offers you something that's interesting. I mean, I certainly feel I'm a better manager than I've ever been. But, you get to a sort of timeline where you're wondering whether the phone is going to ring and the offer is going to be something that's going to tempt you back, so to speak. Yeah. And I think, that's the process I'm in. If that phone call arrives that kind of whets the appetite, then I'll take it on board for sure.
I mean, when you look at it, you've got so much experience, as I said. Palace, very important time for you. West Ham, I remember interviewing you on a number of occasions there, and that in itself was a great experience. Newcastle under Ashley. How would you assess the experience you have got? And it's vast, Alan. It's vast. Over many years in the game, at the highest level. What was your favourite period?
I think the favourite period is always when there's success, of course, because it makes life more happier for everybody and the whole group is together. And you get that process. That happens not very often in a managerial career. You have a few years of that. Most of the years you're fighting for your life. You're fighting for that result. You're fighting for your owner. You're fighting for your fans. You're getting it left, right and centre. No, you are. Because, ultimately, the people think you're an insular manager. You're the ego of, it's your ego and everything else. But it isn't. You are the conduit of everything. You have to bring it all together. And when it comes together, it's an amazing feeling. And you just sail along and it's all great. Newcastle, of course, when we finished fifth, was probably one of the great years. And I had my first year at Palace as a manager when I went back there. Was amazing. We was like the 7th best team over a sort of calendar year at Palace. So, there's been them great periods. But I think when I look back on my career, and I've not had the great big clubs. When I say great big clubs, Newcastle, West Ham are very, very big clubs. But not like top 4 or 5 clubs where you're winning every week. So I kind of pat myself more on the back for those seasons where we had to fight.
Yeah.
When we went into Europe with Newcastle, we had a very small squad. I remember putting some teams out thinking, oh my God, this is going to be one long night, in the FA Cup or in Europe where we just didn't have the number, So it's so great now for Newcastle. I was with some Newcastle friends recently at a wedding, and they're loving it. The whole city
loved it, didn't you?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is now they have the finance to now finally compete, to be what they've always felt they wanted, what they always felt they were, And they are one of the great supported clubs in the world, not alone in England. So to have the finance now, the whole city's buzzing. It's a great feeling. People... Not Premier League football, but it's not just about the football. It's about what it does for the community and the city.
What might it end up being, Alan, up there? As Newcastle, you rightly say. I mean, what a place. What a place for football, for support of your club.
Well, you also taught the ownership of Newcastle now own 3 or 4 of the clubs in Saudi Arabia, of course, who are having this big push to try and create perhaps a super league of their own. And whether they get the TV rights to back it up, I don't think it really matters. They have the finance to probably just go through that. But they certainly have the clout, Newcastle. There's no doubt about that, to go to the next level. And you're talking about a Champions League team here. So now you're going from a Champions League team, which Eddie's gotten to a winning team, winning a trophy.
It's incredible what he's done, though, because when they came in, I mean, Simon, we lived through every moment of it.
Yeah,
they were staving off going down, so they saved themselves, stay up, and then get themselves into a top 4 position.
Yeah, well,
can they win the Premier League anytime soon?
300 million as well, but they've spent it. The trick is 300 million, and Simon, will tell you 300 million is a lot of money in any language to spend on a football team. but you've got to spend it well. As we've seen with Everton and we've seen at Chelsea recently, if you don't spend it well, it can come back and bite you and leave you in an even worse position. So like now Chelsea are trying to do deals with players, trying to get them off the books. That is the hardest part of football, trying to move on what may have been a mistake for the football club in the first place.
Yes, and I think Alan's right. This is Bowley's next problem, isn't it, Simon? All right, we spent that amount of money, we've got all these players, but you and you have got to go so that we can move forward.
Yeah, but I think he'd already identified that, and I think they already knew. I mean, I don't think there's a lot, besides getting it a little wrong this season in terms of understanding the culture of English football, saying things that he shouldn't have said, and maybe making managerial appointments that we're going to have difficulty taking, that he would have priced all this in. Not because I think he's done it well, because he hasn't done it well, but I think the players that were going to go, the Ruben Loftus-Cheeks, the Callum Hudson-Odoi, maybe the Mason Mounts, were already priced into their thinking. I'm not seeing, potentially, maybe Koulibaly, but I'm not seeing potentially too many of the signings that they've made themselves that they want to repurpose. It's players they've already got there. Players they've already got there that are on their books, that are carrying no value, that are all profit for them. Callum had, as I said, Hudson-Odoi, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Mason Mount. They're academy players, so it's straight to profit transactions. And whether people agree with it or not, this is the path that they've taken.
Yeah.
And Alan's absolutely, and listen, it's bleeding obvious, absolutely right. Anyone can spend money. It's not difficult, is it? It's about how you spend it.
Yeah.
And Newcastle, on the whole, have spent it really well. But as he said, they've had 250
and actually
million
the difference
quid.
between Newcastle and what Newcastle really need to do now is invest in the academy, because that's been poor, and it was always poor when I was there. You've got this huge catchment area up there, and actually the academy was not producing players. Now you look at Chelsea, they're going to generate excess of 100 million out of their academy.
Yeah.
So that's the next model. That's the next part of the model for Eddie up there.
Do you keep in touch with Mike Ashley?
Yeah. I'm still in touch with Mike, and I think Mike would like to get back into sport of some description, whether that be cricket or football. I think he's on the verge of doing something.
What about Crystal Palace? If Roy does stay for another season, what does it tell us? Where are they at?
Well, I think Crystal Palace, with what Roy did when he went in there, it showed that, okay, what is Roy, 67, 68? It doesn't really matter. As you got the enthusiasm, as you got the nous to improve that team, and he showed he had. And that gave him a problem in this summer, because then are you going to come away from someone who's just done that, took the team up a level, then go to someone new, which, okay, Potter or Brendan, who I heard was maybe we heard that, gone up back to Scotland. You know, whether that was the right move. And I think Steve's, and I'm talking about Steve Parish here, I think Steve's gone, I think Roy will do another year here and then give us buyers some time to look at, you know, what model we want to bring into the football club. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I don't think it's a bad appointment for Crystal Palace. I think Roy's a nice, when I say nice, I shouldn't use that word, he's a very experienced conservative manager with a very big flared squad. When I say that, I have a lot of flair in the team. So actually, he's not a bad person to manage that team. Don't want to give it to me. I'll have them all going forward and try and score like 3 or 4 goals. No, but that, I'm a different. No, but that's a different. But what I'm saying in Roy's the way Roy manages a football team, and the sensible kind of level he brings. Right. I think it's probably the right thing to do.
So Alan, you're back here now. Record number of sackings in the top flight. It's probably a tougher environment than ever, being a manager in the Premier League. And you fancy going back in?
I think my hunger to be on the coaching is, you want to be on the coaching pitch, you know, and that's the thing that sometimes owners and people around football media people don't actually get. That's the bit you love as a man if you're a coach. I'm more of a coach manager than a kind of overseer of the coaching ground. I like to be on the field and sort of feeling what's going on. So that's what I miss. So any time I get near that, I'm quite happy. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'd quite like to get near it again.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Excellent.